Real quick before the video starts, I just want to say sorry that my voice is so soft. I was recording this really late at night, but yeah, I hope you enjoy nonetheless. In this video, I'm going to be ranking every season of Fortnite from chapter 1 to chapter 6. Let's go. Quick disclaimer, I didn't play chapter 1 season 1 through 5, so I can't really rank them, but they'll have it here on their own. Now starting off with chapter 1 season 6. This is the season I started playing, and in my opinion, compared to the other seasons of this chapter, it wasn't the best. I mean, we had Kevin, which is cool, and we got pets and music added to the game. But let's be real, no one really uses pets. So I think to start off the list, we'll go with a B tier. Up next, we have chapter 1, season 7. I'm gonna say now, straight S tier. Straight S tier. The Christmas music, the winter atmosphere, it was just amazing. They introduced the Infinity Blade, the planes, which controversial but still great. The skins in the battle pass were awesome. The skins released in the item shop were awesome. There was the Ice King live event that no one could really load into, but it was really just a good season. You could just hop on the game with your buddies, have a great time. And not to mention the Marshmallow concert, which was a really good event. Easy S tier. Moving on, we have chapter 1 season 8. This is the pirate season and the release of an iconic skin, Peely. The volcano was added and one of the most fun vehicles ever, the Baller. The stuff you could do with this was actually insane. Going to max site with the volcano glitch, chilling at the edge of the map. Yeah, they were really fun. There were also the cannons, which were great for moving around and for trolling your friends as well as the treasure maps that always gave you good loot. So I'd have to go with an A tier. Next up, we have chapter 1 season 9. This was the futuristic season with Neo Tilted and Mega Mall. This season had one of the most broken shotguns, the combat shotgun, before it got nerfed. It was also the season the World Cup took place, an iconic event. We also had the air tunnels around the map, which was great for moving around. The monster versus robot fight. This event was absolutely epic. However, the season also did have fort bites, which me personally, I did not enjoy doing. It just felt like a chore. I couldn't really play the game. I had to go do this and do that. It was annoying. But either way, nonetheless, I'd put it in A tier, probably above chapter 1 season 8. Moving on to the last season of chapter 1, we have chapter 1 season X. Now, this season was very controversial with the mechs being added to the season, as well as a massive loot pool. While the season did have the black hole event, which was cool and left people very confused afterwards, the mechs ruined 90% of games. Like, there was nothing you could do. Yeah, the mechs kind of just ruined the season for me. Like, at the end of the season, when the mechs were taken out due to lore, the season was fantastic. Honestly, I still really enjoyed the season mechs and not, but because of the mechs, I'm gonna have to go B tier. In my opinion, it is above season 6, but we'll have to see. Moving on to chapter 2, a new Fortnite map which brought a lot of excitement, but the loot pool was very bland, if I'm gonna be honest. The season was also the longest Fortnite season ever, with I think 139 days. So it got boring, like near the end there wasn't like many updates. So yeah, I will give it though. It was a new chapter, it was a new map. The map was pretty decent, so I'll put it in B. Above season X, I'm not sure. I think in the middle for now. We can move it around later. Now on to one of the best seasons, if not the greatest season of all time, chapter 2 season 2. The Midas season, or the Spies themed season, carried everyone through lockdown. It was the first season with Mythics and added some of the most loved POIs ever, with the Agency, the Grotto, the Shark. Everyone was playing and having a good time. The Travis Scott event was also in the season, arguably one of the best live events ever. We also had the end of season event, which turned the storm into the water, which created a lot of funny moments. But no, this season was just fantastic. The guns were great. Everyone was online because of lockdown. Easy S tier. Top of S tier, actually. Now moving on, we have chapter 2 season 3. This was the water season. The map got flooded, which changed the map a lot actually. Many people I feel like this season is actually underrated. Many people don't like it. This season the charge was introduced, which was A bit controversial at the beginning, but it's actually a pretty good shotgun if used correctly. We had Kit Shockwave Launcher, which was very fun to use. The Mythic Burst, which was also really broken, especially with aim assist back then. This was also the season that cars were introduced, which, I mean, you love them or hate them, they were there. So yeah, definitely a heavily underrated season, so I'm putting this in A tier. Definitely above Season 9 and 8 for me. Fortnite's second prime continues with this season. Chapter 2, Season 4, the Marvel season. This season added one of the best POIs in Stark Industries. Great loot every game, good mobility with the Iron Man cars and the rifts that were around the map. There were lots of fun superhero mythics, the Groot Ball, Silver Surfer, to name a few, the Iron Man, Blast. The skins in the Battle Pass were iconic, I mean literally Marvel skins. They were good skins. There was the Galactus event, which was there I guess, but like, if I'm being honest, me personally, I had to wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning for that event. It was not worth it, but hey, has to be another S tier though. Yeah, probably second best season of all time. Moving on from that, we have Chapter 2, Season 5. The new mechanic of traveling under the sand was literally disabled for the majority of the season. We got introduced to the Dragon's Breath shotgun, which was good in the right hands. Also the season of Mandalorian Sniper, which was an okay sniper. I mean, it only had one bullet. But honestly, the season isn't that memorable. And yeah, we have our first C tier. Do I even have to speak about the next season? Chapter 2, Season 6. The Primal season. Arguably the worst season of Fortnite ever. People genuinely thought the game was dying. The weapons just sucked unless you upgraded them, and you had to go looking for the parts as well. It was just not worth it. Straight D tier. Probably the worst season ever. Next up, a bit of redemption. Chapter 2, Season 7. The Alien season. This was the season where Rick and Morty were in the Battle Pass. I mean, if you like it, you do. If you don't, you don't. And there was a pretty good live event to take us into Season 8. The season introduced us to the Railgun, which was a insanely fun sniper to use. A bit broken sometimes, but really good to use. Also easy to counter. The map changes, because of the aliens, like Slurpy Swamps, were really fun. It was a unique twist and also provided lots of good loot. So I'd probably put this season in low A tier. Probably below 9, but above 8. Next up, last season of Chapter 2. Chapter 2, Season 8. In my opinion, it was actually a pretty decent season. We had the Venom Mythics and a cartoon fish. Okay, now, but this season did have a cool live event. The whole map got flipped. I mean, that was epic. And there wasn't anything crazy that made the season bad. So I'm just going to go with a solid B tier on this one. Next up, we have Chapter 3, Season 1. And if I'm being honest, the Spider-Man Mythic carried this season quite a lot. Like, I know there were lots of complaints with the new weapons, but when you got that Spider-Man Mythic, you knew you could just have a blast swinging around the map. This was also the first season where we had a red dot sight with the MK, which was very broken, extremely overpowered. We had Tilted Towers come back and some other fan favorite POIs like Greasy. It was a pretty good start to the chapter, so I'll give this an A tier. In my opinion, I don't think it's better than Chapter 2 Season 3, but feel free to disagree. Next up, Chapter 3 Season 2. With this season, we got the introduction of Zero Build, which brought a lot of people back to the game. We had the blimps around the map and a drivable battle bus, which I guess was cool. You could mod your cars, which was very cool at the time. The map, however, didn't change much from Season 1, so I think this will go bottom of A tier. It wasn't a bad season, by no means. It was a pretty good season, but it wasn't like an insane season. Moving on from that, we have Chapter 3, Season 3, the Vibing season. The map did change a bit in the bottom left corner, and the grapple gun was added to make up for the Spider-Man Mythic. The loot pool was really good in this season, in my opinion. This is also the season we got the Dragon Ball collab with the Dragon Ball Mythics, which were really fun to use and very overpowered. Unfortunately, that is about it. So, fortunately, I'm gonna have to put this in C tier. I honestly don't remember the season much, so yeah. Coming up next, we have Chapter 3, Season 4. The Chrome season. If I'm being honest, I don't really remember this season much. I know I had my breaks of not playing Fortnite, but yeah, this season doesn't ring many bells. Most of the POIs remain the same, with changes to the color of the environment being about it. I don't think many people like the loot pool, like the chrome weapons. I mean, it was a unique idea, but not many people liked them. The goo gun was extremely annoying to fight, and the live event was also not the best. Another C tier, unfortunately. And with Chapter 3 Season 4 coming to an end, we have Chapter 4 Season 1, another new map. This map brought the hammers, which were very, very fun to use and get around the map. Augments, which added a unique twist to the game, and a bunch of other new things. They definitely improved from the previous season. The guns are pretty good, and the heist exotics were also great. I'm gonna go with a mid A tier. Well, high mid A tier. I don't think it was better than Chapter 3 Season 1 because of the Spider-Man mythic. Spider-Man was really just that good. Okay, next up, we have Chapter 4 Season 2. With this season, we saw Mega City introduced, which was an amazing POI. One of the biggest POIs we've had. We had the kinetic blades for movement. We saw caches get added to the game, as well as the return of the floating island that would spawn during the middle of the game. This was also the season where Fortnite collabed with Attack on Titan, which brought in the ODM gear, which was a fantastic item. Many people really enjoyed the season, including myself. So I'd either put this in the bottom of S tier or top of A. For now, I'm going to go with the top of A, because S tier, it's kind of in a league of their own. Moving on, we have Chapter 4 Season 3, the Wild season. Definitely much better than the Primal season, but still not the greatest. There's a bunch of useless items that nobody really used, and the augments were also not the best. The best addition in this season was probably the Mammoth Pistol, but other than that, not much happened in the season. It's definitely better than C tier, but not higher than B. It's gonna go bottom of B for me. Next up, we have Chapter 4 Season 4. Fortnite Last Resort, much better than the previous season. We had 4 vault POIs and the ability to choose an unvaulted mythic. We had the rocket ram being added, as well as the crash pad junior. Definitely a fun season that received a lot of compliments from the community, and I definitely think it deserves an A tier. Probably gonna go better than the Spider-Man season, if I'm being honest. Actually no, the Spider-Man mythics was just too fun. It was genuinely so fun. Next up, we have Chapter 4 Season 5, the OG season. Fortnite had the whole world hyped for this season. Nobody believed it was happening, but then they delivered, and it was an absolute banger. The nostalgia hit different, and the map was fantastic. The Eminem concert also took place in the season. Even if you didn't play in Chapter 1, I'm sure you can all agree this season was just great. This is also the first season I got Unreal. That's irrelevant, but yeah, still an S tier in my opinion. Moving on to Chapter 5, Season 1, we have Fortnite Underground. With this season, we got new bosses and mythics, medallions replaced keycards, we had the grapple, and the most broken sniper ever. Weapon attachments were also added, which allowed you to have the most broken sniper ever. Only thing people were annoyed about was the movement change, but looking back at it, it wasn't actually that bad. I'm gonna have to give this an S tier. Do I say better than the OG season? Probably, yeah. Moving on to Chapter 5 Season 2, this was the Greek mythology season. POIs such as the Underworld and Mount Olympus got added, which were great POIs. New medallions and new bosses, but there wasn't an insane amount of content compared to previous Chapter 2 Season 4's Marvel season. It was still a good season though, so I'm going to give it an A tier. Probably just beating out Season 9. Next season, Chapter 5 Season 3. The wrecked season, and yes, the season was absolutely wrecked because cars absolutely ruined this season. There were glitches where your cars could glitch through the map and kill you. They were not fun to fight against. Nitro Splash, while being nice for mobility, was extremely annoying to fight against. People would just jump in your box and there was nothing you could do. The Nitro Fists were also added, which, like the Nitro Splash, good for mobility but horrible to fight against. Definitely a worthy contender for the Primal season. Even though Fortnite Reload got added this season, I'm still going to give it a D tier. Might genuinely be worse than Primal. At least Primal, I could play the game without getting attacked by a car. Moving on to Chapter 5 Season 4, Fortnite's second Marvel season, which I think was pretty good. Definitely not as good as the first one, but it was still good. The Ralph Medallion was broken, basically gave you wall hacks. We had Iron Man mythics, which literally made you Iron Man. The POIs were massive, and we got the ability to transform into Doctor Doom. We had some other Marvel weapons like Cap Shield and Warhammer's turret, and all in all, I think it was a pretty good season, deserving an A tier. Moving on to the last season of Chapter 5, pretty recently actually. The remix season, this was the remix of Chapter 2, and if I'm being honest, while it was great to be back on the Chapter 2 map, that nostalgia and everything of like during lockdown and whatnot, the remixes killed the season. The hype was not the same as the OG season. The concert was kind of underwhelming, nothing compared to the Travis Scott event. Weapons were great, of course, but I personally did not enjoy it as much as I thought I would have. But I'm still going to give it a B tier, because it did allow players who did not get to play in Chapter 2 to at least experience the map. So yeah, top of B tier. And moving on to the present day, Chapter 6 Season 1. So far, it's a pretty good season in my opinion. The Onimas and Typhoon Blade are great for movement. You have a fairly balanced loot pool. And the map is vibrant and really cool with the Japanese theme. There's still a lot Fortnite could do with this, but for now, I'm going to give it an A tier. A mid A tier now, because we don't know what else could happen. Okay, so I did make a few changes. I moved Vibing Season into B tier. Chapter 2 Season 5, top of C. Moved the Greek Season down to C, as well as Wild Season down to C. And I think that's the only changes I made. Yeah, okay, now I think the list is in a good spot. But anyway, that is my ranking for all these seasons so far. Feel free to comment your thoughts below, and as always, have a great day.